So I want to ask you a question. You've had a really busy day at work. It's been a hard day. Whatever you've done, you've had a lot of calls, maybe you've done a lot of traveling, you've been trying to get to the bottom of your to-do list, you've had a lot of emails, you're exhausted, you're shattered. You walk, you've been told to go to your boss's office, which is on the 20th floor. You're on the 15th. Do you walk? Do you go up the stairs or the ladder, or do you get the elevator? Actually, you've been sitting for a while, so I want to know who, if you would get the elevator, stand up. Okay, so I think that's, we've got about 75, 80% of the room. Okay, and I just want to see if you would get the stairs, stand up. If you would take the stairs up those 5 floors. Okay, interesting. Okay, so if you sit down, just remember who you are, because I'm going to talk to you a bit more about that, about which way you go. To be honest, I think the best way is the elevator. It's the quickest way. You're exhausted. You're going to actually conserve your energy. And to be honest, you know, what we often do as women is we want to take one tiny step at a time up that ladder. But actually, technology might be the way for you to take the elevator and go straight up quite a few rungs of that ladder at a time. A few years ago now, about 4 years ago, I did some research with Nivea, the skincare brand. Who's familiar with them? Yeah? Okay, and we interviewed 2,700 women about their attitudes to celebrity, to career, to education, to all sorts of things. And it was really interesting. We called it the Bring It On study. The women we interviewed were all under 30. And here are the few of the headlines when it comes to technology. 87% of those women under 30 use social media to get their ideas out there. Who in this room is using social media? Okay. Quite a lot of you, but not all of you. 3 out of 4 of them believe technology could speed up their career success. I'm going to talk a bit more about that, about what that might look like. And 85% agreed the internet was creating a new generation of digital role models. This group of women were really confident. They were really confident about their future and what they could be doing. And I called them happenistas, women who make things happen in their own unique way. More than half of them believed that women are more confident than ever before. And that was really heartening, because it's something we hear a lot, that women aren't so confident, that we need to work on our confidence. And actually, as a coach, it's something that people come to me all the time with. I wish I was more confident. I wish I was able to take those opportunities that are being offered to me. Or I wish I was able to brag a bit more like some of those guys in the office. What is it that's holding me back? Can you help? So I've done some research very recently myself. And I've looked at confidence. It's a smaller piece of research than the one I did with Nivea, but just as interesting. Actually, everyone says that men are so much more confident than women. But actually, when I looked at who was most bothered about their confidence, actually 44% of men were bothered about their confidence versus 56% of women. It's not a huge difference. Why is that? Maybe men are now talking about how confident or not they are and being more honest about it. Or maybe there is an increase in the level of confidence in women. I'm not completely sure of the answer. But you know, this idea that we spoke about, actually Femi mentioned imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, for me, when I think about it, is comparing how I feel inside with how other people look on the outside. It's a false comparison. I have no idea on how other people feel inside. Everyone looks damn confident, don't they? Haven't you noticed that? You go to a networking event, you walk in, you might be thinking, I don't know anyone here, oh my gosh, I've got to talk to strangers, and everyone else looks like they know everyone and they're super confident. But inside, they all feel exactly the same. So if I compare how I feel to how everyone looks, it's a totally false comparison. So we have to be really careful about that. So maybe we are more confident. Maybe we're more aware of how confident people are and are not. And maybe men are more open about their level of confidence too. There's an age curve to confidence. And I think this is useful. Everyone tells me that millennials are super confident people. They don't worry about the same things we do. But my research found that sort of under 24, people were still lacking confidence. And a lot of that was about experience. You haven't done things yet. You don't know if you can do them. And as a result, you don't feel so confident about them. But if you're in that sweet spot between 25 and 55, you're probably a lot more confident than you used to be. Or you don't care about your confidence so much. Or you don't feel confident, but maybe you don't let it hold you back as much as maybe you once would. And then in the later years, after 55, sometimes the confidence takes a dip again. And when I looked at the research, sometimes that was about loss. Maybe you've lost a long-term partner. Sometimes that was about ill health. Losing your health can really damage your confidence. And sometimes that might have been about loss of identity. You might have retired, and your identity might have been really wrapped up in your job. And so it's, who am I now? And so you can lose a bit of your confidence. So this age curve is quite important to think about. As I've said, this imposter syndrome is rife. And when you look at the research around it, this idea of actually feeling like you're a bit of a fraud, feeling like someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you you're not really meant to be here. Jump meant to recruit the other Jenny Garrett, it wasn't you. All of that sort of thing. It's everywhere. And at 52% of the people did let their level of confidence hold them back. I think it's okay not to feel confident. I think it's okay to feel nervous, but when it holds you back from taking opportunities, that's when it actually becomes a bit of a problem and something that you need to think, you need to do something about. Your boss really matters. How many bosses do we have in the room? A few. You've got a huge weight of responsibility, because when people talked about what negatively impacted their confidence, it was often boss, then colleagues, then early life experience. Yeah? Your boss can ruin your life. Absolutely. In my 20s, I worked for a very small organization, a family-run organization. It was so cliquey, it was so awful. I remember going to the office of my boss, and him just being quite disgusting in every way. And I went out at lunchtime, and I never came back. And I remember them ringing me the next day and saying, Jenny, what's wrong with you? Why have you gone? Why did you go home? And where are you today? And me saying, I'm not coming back here, because this place is wrecking my confidence, and I'll never be able to work anywhere else if I stay here any longer. So be very careful. As a boss, think carefully about how you're making your colleagues and your staff members feel. And you take responsibility for not letting your organization completely deplete your confidence. Do something about it. Sometimes the most confident thing is to walk away. Other times it's to challenge, to do the thing that you can do to preserve your confidence.